Okay, my people, peace and love and blessings to each and every one of you all. This is Anna Renee coming to you all once again from the MAPS channel. Mantras, affirmations, prayers, and spells, my people. Blessings to each and every one of you all. Thank you all for meeting up with me here once again. As we go through this series through the Met to Netter volumes 4 and volumes 6. Right now, I'm going to be working with 4, going through all of the Neteru. And now we are at Heru, the hero. Yes, the law of Heru and the power of Heru, which is where all the transformation comes through. The blessings. It's the center of the tree, pretty much. So, my people, thank you once again for being here with me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I call it MAPS for short. It is mantras, affirmations, prayers, and spells. And right now we're dealing with the laws which inform the mantras. And the whole thing is just one complete way of life. Religion for some people, but for me, a way of life, a way of tapping into the truth of your power at last. So, my people, yes, today, as I have just stated, we're going to be going through this. So, let's get straight to it. Keep this straight to the point and as short and sweet as it can possibly be. We are on chapter 11, the law of Heru, the sixth neter of the Pa'ut, the sixth god of the tree. And this is to be worked during the time of June 21st to July 20th in the northern hemisphere and December 21st to January 20th in the southern hemisphere. If you want to be specific to the time, because these kinds of things goes in cycles, these types of works, and they are performed at certain times of the year, certain times of the day. It's just one of those cycles. This is the yearly cycle. So from June 21st to July 20th for northern hemisphere people, and December 21st through January 20th for southern hemisphere people. All right, the law of Heru, the sixth neter of the Pa'ut. And here we go. We experience the influence of the neter Heru as the desire for freedom and for control over our lives and our destiny. Okay, this desire can only be satisfied through the law of Heru. The goal of Heru's law is to nurture and establish the peace and oneness with all, Amen and Asar. I never fail to start talking when this thing starts chiming. I don't know what it means. I'm gonna just go with it. So there it is. All right. Let me start again. We experience the influence of the Neter Heru as the desire for freedom and for control over our lives and destiny. Control. Okay. This desire can only be satisfied through the law of Heru. The goal of Heru's law is to nurture and establish the peace and oneness with all, Amen and Asar, through the experience of our intrinsic peace and oneness with all. The spiritual desire for freedom has as its objective the liberation of the self from its false identification with the mind and the animal spirit and the control that they have established over the self during the early stage of spirituality. And my people, I might as well just mention it now. Uh, it's 11:30 in the morning. Usually, when I start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there are people talking, but for some reason, people have come out. And so you might possibly hear them, okay? Thank God it's not hot like it has been this past week. I got all my windows closed. You'll still hear them because the sound still comes through, depending on how loud they are. But you know what? We can deal with that. That's just life. It's all good. I enjoy having people talking in the background, just so long as you can still hear me over them. They're just sort of in the background. Once they are louder than me, then I need to shut it down. Okay. So, rebellion. Let's continue. Man's infancy is characterized by the condition of total oblivion to rules, regulations, restrictions, laws, etc. As children, we are driven by the lower part of the spirit over which we have no control. By degrees, we have to be taught self control, discipline, and observance of ethics, morality, and law. Living by inner or spiritual laws is the last and highest restriction that man has to place on her life. In the majority of people, there is seen the inability to transcend the infantile desire to be free of restrictions. Okay. The Western world has taken this attitude to its highest level of expression, and improperly understood freedom has become enshrined and glorified in Western man's most cherished institutions. I am not here concerned with the ills that it has caused in economics and government, but in the manner that it perpetuates the power of the lower part of the spirit over man. Let's take a brief look at the freedom to cultivate and express one's opinion, for example. Since opinions, quotes, are ideas that are not based on certainty or facts, and let alone laws and truth, people should not be encouraged to cultivate and express them at the expense of putting forth the effort to find the facts and truth of a matter. Let me reread that sentence, okay? Since opinions are ideas that are not based on certainty, opinions are not based on certainty, which would be truth in law, or facts, and let alone laws and truth, okay? People should not be encouraged to cultivate and express them at the expense of putting forth the effort to find the facts and the truth of a matter. So you can have your opinion, but your opinion ought to not override finding the truth of the matter. Okay. Your opinion should not be put forth as fact overriding someone going forth and looking for the truth. There are a lot of people out here that says my truth. I've said it myself, my truth. Which, what does that really mean? That's kicking God to the curb. I think God has placed truths in order. There are truths, there are laws that are here in existence so that this universe can run without falling into chaos. But we put forth our truth, which is really our opinion, as though it is the facts and the laws of the matter. And we get upset when people try to find the truth of a situation, if it's possible to find. Not all people do that. Some people know how to handle that kind of stuff. You have to be on a certain level to be able to deal with accepting that what you're calling your truth is really just an opinion. It doesn't diminish you or me. It just simply means, well, that's a starting point. Your opinion is the starting point. I mean, anyway, let me go on. Okay. Since opinions are ideas that are not based on certainty or even on facts, let alone on laws and truth, people should not be encouraged to cultivate and express them at the expense of putting forth the effort to find the facts and truth of a matter. The error is so deeply entrenched in Western culture that the opinions of judges are allowed to serve as the laws of the land. Ron Neferahmet, I tell you, he gets to the crux of the matter, doesn't he? But that's the way our laws are set up in the Western world. I studied law because I thought I was going to become a paralegal back maybe 15 years ago. Once I couldn't get through in nursing because it was so doggone competitive, it was impossible. Well, I could have gone to school again, taken anatomy and physiology again, and then tried again. And people got to live in the time that it takes to keep taking the courses. Same thing with the law. Just trying to be a paralegal, you got to study the basics of law, and it was quite interesting. I liked it, to be honest, but there was so many holes in it, so many uncertainties in it. So many uncertain. I mean, I noticed that right at the beginning, and how laws get formed as we go. Like I used to watch millions of people's courts. I watched them all. Judge Judy. I watched Marilyn, whatever her name was. That girl who's talking about stick a fork in me, I'm done. That New Yorker girl. Uh, I watched, I don't know, just everybody, all the lawyers, people's court in the very beginning. All of that stuff is fascinating because they got to come to decisions about things. And sometimes things are just very in between. How do you, it just becomes the judge's opinion on how cases are decided. That's just the way it is when you live in a world with other people. And it's interesting to say the least. All right. The error is so deeply entrenched in Western culture that the opinions of judges are allowed to serve as the laws of the land. The reader must search for other examples. History, ancient and modern, is rich in them. It is nothing more than rebellion authored by the survival of the child in the grown man, quote unquote. Okay. Incidentally, while the Western man has enshrined freedom, he enshrined it. He cultivates his enslavement to the lower part of his being, his lower mind and passions. Oh my God, that whole paragraph, I need to read that like two or three more times. It's so much in it. I think I will read it again. The reader, let's see, the error is so deeply entrenched in Western culture that the opinions of judges are allowed to serve as the laws of the land. The reader must search for other examples. You can find them in history, ancient and modern. All right. It is nothing more than rebellion authored by the survival of the child in the grown man. Incidentally, while the Western man, quote unquote, has enshrined freedom. Yeah, we got shrines to freedom. Land of the free and home of the brave, and just all kinds of things. Go to the Washington Monument, go everywhere. There's shrines all over this country to freedom. The flag itself is a shrine to freedom. The stars and the stripes, okay? And then there are the GUN laws that is supposedly freedoms and stuff like that. Your amendment, your rights, your freedoms to be able to shoot somebody down, and to those people who have a hatred of other people, and their minds, because of their hatred, is not clicking right. Every step that the person they hate makes is a threat to them. They take it as a threat. And when they're threatened, they just really want to annihilate the threat. It's madness, but it's freedom. Okay. In the early part of life, the desire for freedom is thought of as usual from an outward and earthly perspective. The man, did I understand that? In the early part of life, the desire for freedom is thought of as usual from an outward and earthly perspective. The man can only identify the control or restriction imposed on him by other men, the social and physical environment, circumstances, and destiny. Such efforts run into endless conflicts and struggle and unproductive work until the spiritual evolutionary path is found. The satisfaction of the desire for freedom is found in our intrinsic peace. Amen, part of our being, which is the high spiritual level. Okay. Our natural freedom from the animal part of our being. So freedom is an inward thing, not an outward thing. Okay. By liberating ourselves from the tyranny of our emotions. Okay. Do you understand that your emotions are tyrannical? They rule over you. If you let them, they rule over you unjustly and just in a way that they don't let up. It's tyranny. Okay. Okay. Liberating ourselves from the tyranny of our emotions, we restore the harmony and vitality of the life force and thus empower ourselves through spiritual power to liberate ourselves from the unjust conduct of others and to be at peace with what cannot be changed. In other words, freedom from the outer world is achieved through freedom from our inner lower world. That's how you achieve the freedom from this stuff. And that last paragraph is something right there. That's something again right there. People feel like when you talk about emotions and disattaching, is that a word, disattaching? No, I don't think. Disconnecting from the tyranny of emotion, people feel like, well, you're talking about being unhuman. You're talking about, emotions are a part of being human. You need to be able to express your emotions. You need to, otherwise, who are you? I deserve to be able to, say something to somebody that they may not like. I should be able to do that. I have the emotional right to be able to do that. You know, it just I should be able to go off if I feel like it. Otherwise, I'm bottling that emotion up. How about if you are on a level where you don't even generate that kind of an emotion in the first place? How about that? So that it's not there, so you don't have to let off on anybody who just so happens to tick you off or something like that, based on what they're thinking about for themselves, and just all of that. Sometimes people are doing things they don't even realize they're doing it, and that is ticking you off. But how about not being ticked off? Just because somebody tried to tick you off doesn't mean you have to be ticked off. And other things, crying, and just anything. You have to use these emotions. Well, this is just me talking based on what I've learned from and what I resonate with reading these books. You don't have to express sadness just because the situation is supposedly sad. Do you have to express sadness? Like, for example, the Queen of England has passed. She's been a monarch on a throne for 70 entire good years, her entire life, pretty much. Okay. She just recently passed. I'm pretty sure because of all the pomp and circumstance that's being done right now in England, as her son becomes the King of England, uh, there might be some people who are, heartbroken and sad and might want to cry. But why though? Why? She was 96 years old. Let her go in peace. Let her. She did what she's supposed to do. I'm not sure what that is because we know how England uh, did the things that it did to the rest of the world. Okay, especially in the diaspora and the whole. that it has over many smaller nations. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I don't want to even talk about that right now because I don't know enough to talk about it. But I know just I remember learning the little phrase that the sun doesn't set on the sun never sets on the empire, the British Empire or the English Empire, or however that's said. I don't know if that's still true, but I remember hearing that at some point in my my furthering of my knowledge base and studies and whatever. Anyway, uh, it was an oppressor anyway. I don't know if she had anything to do with that, but I'm just saying. But some people are going to cry, or going to feel sad and things like that. Is the point I'm making. But why should you? Not because you dislike the queen or anything like that, but because what's the point in being sad about it? I know it sounds hard and cold. I know. In the early part of life, the desire for control over one's life is thought of as usual, I should say, from an outward and earthly perspective. Since control is related to success, it is sought through the control of others, the environment, and spiritual processes that manifest the events in our lives. Freeing ourselves from the unjust control that other men would exert over us was discussed above. Okay. The chief discussion of this chapter centers on the use of the will to exert control over the animal, which is the emotions, desires, and sensuality, and the processes through which the mind brings things into fruition. How to will to achieve, how to will to achieve our goals. I know it. Let me just keep moving. Uh, hmm. I don't know why I feel like people are not going to receive this. I don't know why I feel that way. I need to overcome that. All right, where's my water? Where's my water bottle? It's not here. Darn, my mouth is dry. Willpower, quote unquote. This is the one that he be going on. Let's see what he says this time. And het heru. How did I get to het heru? How did I get there? how am I on het heru? I don't know. But anyway, the effort to control and oppose unwanted thoughts and emotions through an act of the will is what is called willpower. The effort to control and oppose unwanted thoughts and emotions, unwanted thoughts, unwanted emotions, through an act of the will is what is called willpower. It is an erroneous approach that ends in failure in most cases and partial and minimal success at best. This is where Ra'an Nefer Amen goes in, the whole willpower thing. Okay. He might break it down in this chapter, but I have read from volume 1 where he talks about it in a lot more detail than I think he will in this particular chapter of this book. But let's see what he says. Because people are like, what are you saying, that I don't have willpower? Remember that Ra'an Nefer Amen is he's a master at analysis and chopping things into the finest pieces and parts so you can get the fullness of the meaning. Okay. And let's see what he's going to say. It is an erroneous approach. What's an erroneous approach? The effort to control and oppose unwanted thoughts and emotions is an erroneous approach if you're doing it through an act of the will, or you're trying to do it. And this erroneous approach ends in failure in most cases, or partial and minimal success at the very best. Partial success, minimal success at the very best. Why? The reason is a simple one. Thoughts and emotions. I might need to get up and go get my water. I think I do. My throat is drying up right now. I got to get it. Hold on, my people. Where is my water bottle? Here it is. I'll be right there, my people. Because I feel that I'm going to be repeating myself numerous times. So I better just get this water ready. You probably can hear my neighbors. They're not being too loud right now, but you can probably still hear them. All right, I got my water. It was a real overcast morning. It's hazy or whatever you call that. I can imagine as soon as that haziness clears up, it's probably going to get real hot. And I guess that's why people are out right now, because it's still warm, you know. It's going to get hot if that stuff clears. It seems like smoke, like something's burning here in the state of California. I don't know. We have been having windy days, and we usually have our fire season in October, but things are different and weird. In September, it's kind of early. If it's fire, I don't know. Anyway, where was I? Thoughts and emotions. Let's see. The reason is a simple one. Thoughts and emotions reflect themselves automatically under the control of the autonomous or involuntary nervous system. Okay. Thoughts and emotions reflect themselves automatically under the control of the autonomous or the involuntary nervous system, like our heartbeats is under the autonomous involuntary nervous system. We don't have to worry about our thoughts. We don't have to think for that our heart to beat or our blood to flow and things like that. So he's saying that emotions and thoughts are also under the involuntary. The thoughts come, your emotions come. Okay, so what you're saying? All efforts to control them through the will are analogous to willing the heart to beat faster and must therefore fail. You can't will your heart to beat faster. I can't sit here and say, beat faster, heart, is what he's saying. But I can do something and my heart will beat faster. Like if I start running, my heart will beat faster. Or if something scares me, my heart will beat faster. But that's being done through the autonomous, what do you call that? Nervous system, the involuntary nervous system. I don't have to, if something scares me, I don't have to say, oh, I'm scared, I need more energy. Okay, heart, beat faster. You don't have to do that. It's going to be done automatically for you. I guess that's part of the flight or fight situation that we got going. Okay. So he's saying because thoughts and emotions come through automatically, and I think that's kind of true because certain kinds of thoughts start coming and it's not like you want them to. And sometimes emotions will come and it's not like you want those kind of emotions to come. They come. Okay, keep talking, Ra'an Nefer Amen, sir. All efforts to control them through the will. And the will is our decision to say, well, I want this to happen. There's ways that you got to know how to deal with your will, okay? Emotions and sensual energies must be controlled in the same manner. Where's my fan? I need my fan. It's getting hot in here. Emotions and sensual energies must be controlled in the same manner that we can make the heart beat faster by visualizing certain things, Okay, so you can do that by visualization, either it happening for real or visualization, because the body doesn't recognize the difference between the reality of you seeing something like a. Anyway, let me just keep going. Let me let him teach this. Let me just read it. Okay. Emotions and sensual energies must be controlled in the same manner that we can make the heart beat faster by visualizing certain things. Instead of waiting for an emotion or desire to assault you, to oppose it with your will, you must meditate often with the vision of your person acting in a manner that signifies that you have transcended it. In time, with repeated meditations, the image of acting in the correct manner will displace the unwanted behavior or emotion. That's the whole of what it is that we be talking about. So many different people talking about, okay, to try to change your way of thinking, you know, overcome different problems that you have in your emotions or, different situations so you can think differently. And you got to displace, which is the program that's in there. Okay, if it's some kind of negative program that's causing you stress in your life. So let me reread this. Instead of waiting for an emotion or desire to assault you so that you have to oppose it then with your will, you must meditate often. So you just keep meditating. It becomes a lifestyle with the vision of your person, of yourself acting in a manner. So you're visualizing you acting a certain way that signifies that you have transcended it. So you're acting in a way. Okay, say for instance you're scared of snakes or something like that. So what you would do, according to this way, is to go into meditations on a regular basis, and you visualize yourself handling a snake often. Okay, you see yourself picking up the snake and petting the snake, or dealing with the snake, not nothing happening, stuff like that. You do that often enough, you'll overcome the fear of snakes. It's a trip. Is is that your spirit, the vision that you have is just as real to your spirit as if you were really doing it. But when people are afraid of a snake, they're probably not going to go and pick a snake up. Some people can do that. Some people can overcome their fears that way. But thank God there's another way you can do it. You just simply visualize, you meditate, and see yourself doing it in your own mind's eye. And that is happening as though it's happening in reality. So that what you're visualizing is reality to your spirit, just like doing it for real is reality to your spirit. If you keep seeing yourself not having any fear of a snake, then eventually you won't. So that in real life, or in the 3D, I don't know, the 3D real life, you're not afraid of it anymore. That's what they're saying is how it works. Okay, so you will displace the unwanted behavior or emotion. We will deal with concrete examples of this in the Het Heru chapter, okay, because Het Heru represents visualization, okay. The important thing to realize here is the realization that willpower, as generally conceived, the way we talk about it, the use of the will to directly oppose and control thoughts and emotions, is incorrect. It doesn't work that way. This is analogous to the erroneous belief that God acts directly on man's behalf without the spirit acting as the intermediary. That's a whole other can of worms that we're not going to open right now, okay? Because there are many, many people who believe that God's just going to put his hand down and change things for you, give you what you desire. What if it's not in your destiny for what it is? What if you're not supposed to be desiring a Lamborghini? What if that's not destined for you? Talking about destiny is another can of worms that we're not going to get into right now. Okay. Whenever you find yourself struggling with an emotion or conditioning, it is a sign that you are using the will to confront the emotion instead of using the will to visualize the desired result through your meditations. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, whenever you find yourself struggling with an emotion or conditioning, okay, if you've been trying to do this and you struggling and it's still happening and you're not getting anywhere according to yourself, it is a sign that you are using your will, okay, the Heru part of your spirit, your will to confront the emotion, okay, the emotion, whatever it happens to be, fear, you're trying to confront the fear. Uh, Lust, you're trying to confront the lust, okay, instead of using the will to visualize the desired result through your meditations. Don't deal with the fear, don't deal with the lust, deal with a result that you want, deal with having overcome the fear, having overcome the lust. Don't deal with the lust in your visualizations or in your, what you're doing, your will. No, focus on the result. So you just bypass the emotions or whatever they are. Don't even deal with them. Just go to, okay, I no longer have this lust, whatever it is. See yourself not having a lust. So maybe you can visualize yourself uh, dealing with seeing a bunch of something that before you would have lusted after. You're looking at it and yeah, that's it right there. But whatever, I don't care about it. You visualize yourself on that level. You've already overcome it. Just go straight to the results you want. I think that's cool. I think it's freaking cool. And you just do this by thinking. See it. See yourself in your own mind doing it like that, having it like that. Okay. If you were afraid, visualize yourself not being afraid. Don't visualize yourself confronting your fear, which is the way a lot of times they teach us to do it. Confront that fear. Why waste your energy on that? Just go straight to the result that you would want if you had confronted the fear and you were successful. You would not be fearful in that situation. So there it is. Go straight to your visualization of yourself not being fearful in that. If you're afraid of dogs, okay, you've been trained to say, I will not fear dogs anymore in your visualization. I no longer am afraid of dogs. I no longer am afraid of dogs. You will have affirmations like that. No, just see yourself petting a dog. See yourself with dogs in your house. See yourself with dogs jumping on your lap and kissing you and you petting them and you feeding them and just not being afraid of them. I think it's fabulous. Where am I? 38 minutes. Okay. The use of the imagination, which is Het Heru, as the vehicle of the will, it's the vehicle of the will. Heru is the will. Het Heru is the vehicle of the will. It's amazing. It's expressed in the name of Heru, which is the neter that represents man's will. Het is a house. Therefore, Het Heru means the house of the will. Het Heru. All right. Then there is Heru Kuti. So Kuti has to mean something specific. All right. All right, my people, let's keep going. Willpower, quotes unquote, and reasoning. In his best-selling book on success, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz states that an image of what a person wants that is held in the mind long enough, will work towards its manifestation as an actuality in the world. This is an important retelling of an ancient truth, but it is only partially true. An image is an object of a form, a particle that serves as a guide to the life force, which is the motive energy behind the manifestation of effects in the world. The voluntary manifestation of effects in life takes place through four components. Okay, I can see that this is, I'm going to have to reread this for my doggone self. Let's see, where are we? Oh, there's a lot. Oh, gee. Okay. Then there's Heru Kinti Ima'at. Woo, there's a lot. I might have to do this in two sections. Wow. Because Heru is a very important part. See, this is this is, I'm on page 190 and it goes all the way to 210, another 20 pages. I can able to do it in one go. This Heru is what in the story when Set killed Asar, right? Then it was up to Set. Okay. There's Set and then there's Offset. I wonder if there's something there. I wonder if that means something. But anyway, Set killed his brother, Asar, and disassembled his body, chopped him into 14 pieces, so the story goes, and tossed him in different places, some here, some there, some in the bottom of the Nile. So it was for Offset, okay, to bring all these pieces together. She had to find him. She had to go out and get him, collect the pieces of him, and then bring it together, and then do an immaculate magical conception from the dead, supposedly dead phallus. There's a way that's said. I can't remember. I can remember, not yet though, of how that immaculate conception happened. Okay, from the man with no life or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, and created and became impregnated with Heru. So Heru is very important to the entire reconfiguring of the dead Asar. Okay, very important. Heru is Asar's son. Okay, and Offset's son. And of course that is metaphor. That's metaphor. Okay, you're trying to reimagine yourself. You're trying to rebuild yourself. You're trying to come out of the lower realm of your being and up into the higher realms of your being. You have to do something. There's things you got to do. Okay, you can't be satisfied with just knowing the knowledge of stuff. Okay, you got to know that you got to do something. Okay, it's not enough for you to know, but what you gonna do? Okay, you got to do something to overcome your own blind spots. Okay, we all have our own blind spots, and I can talk about it based on your sign, your zodiac sign. Okay, I mean that right there is a divination tool. Right there, the astrology is a divination tool. If you go into astrology and look under your sign, your sun sign, you can find out what it is that are your weaknesses. All right, and what are you going to do to overcome those weaknesses? Are you going to just go with that? Or are you going to overcome that? Okay, so the map is laid right out for you in astrology. If you don't want to do it through the Kemetic way, you can do it through astrology and any other kind of way that's real. Okay, that's good. Being able to know is not, it doesn't inform you reaching up. You have more knowledge, but you haven't reached up. Okay, and so when you have more knowledge, you're doing whatever to protect your opinions, about what it is that you think you know. That's not what all the ancient Kemetic people did. Okay, in order to be able to do the things they did, just having knowledge. Okay, that's part of the situation of the Gnostics. They know, but did they understand? You got to be willing to do this. And here's the layout right here. You do meditations. Okay, you work on yourself. Here's a breakdown of the spirit of man through this magnificent metaphorian analogy story. Okay, you got to rebuild that higher self. I mean, if you want to, if you don't, if you prefer to stay in your lower self, where you feel okay to assume that you're more intelligent than everybody else, that's a terrible weakness. When you believe that you know more than everybody just because you did some studying, that's terrible kind of weakness, and it's a mental block, and it stops you too. It can stop you. It's a certain kind of it's arrogance, you know. Not to say that people don't know what they know, don't know what they know. I mean, they've studied and now they know, but what about you? What about your inside? What do you know about your true self? You don't know until you overcome your weaknesses, which we all are born with. We have to start from the bottom. Every single person is baby in reality, and then you got to grow. But in the spirit realm too, you got to grow. You're going to have to come face to face with the crossroads. That's why a whole lot of Black cultural religious situations talk about crossroads. You got to hit those crossroads, and you're probably going to hit more than one. All right, where you're going to have to make decisions. Crossroads. Do you decide to move up to the next level, or are you going to stay here and be satisfied with that? Then now you're going to have to protect what you believe you know forever. And then anybody who comes and oppose you, you're going to want to put the smack down on them. Anybody got the doggone unmitigated gall to oppose what you know, you got to put the smack down on them. How is that any different than Christianity? Talk to me about that. Okay, talk to me. How is that any different than Christianity? And what people who are in the Christian realm who happen to be on that level, because not all Christians are on that kind of a level. Okay, there are Christians who've overcome. Even in the basic Christian church, there are Christians who've overcome. I knew some. Okay, prayer warriors right in the church. Not everybody is stuck on that. Usually it's the leaders who get stuck. Okay, they fall in love with their knowledge, and their position. Anyway, let's not go too far over that. In his best-selling book on success, Psycho-Cybernetics, and I remember that was a very, very, very popular book, very popular. Maxwell Maltz states that an image of what a person wants that is held in the mind long enough will work. See, right here, that right there. This is the thing that they talk about all the time. What you want, what you want, what you want, what you want. You should be able to have what you want, what you want. What about what's correct? What about what God has destined for you, as opposed to what you want? A rapist wants to be able to rape. So should a rapist then put on the mind himself raping and keep that thing in his mind as long as he can so that it can come true? So that he can then go forth and rape? It's not about what you want, it's about what's destined for you, what God has for you, and not in that old-fashioned way. There's a lot to it, okay? There's a lot to it, and you got to get to it. If you're a leader of people, you got to get to it, because people will know that you're on their same level. They might not dare say nothing to you because you're going to cut them a new one, but they know it. Just because they don't open their mouth because they're afraid of you does not mean they don't know it, okay? Anywho, that an image of what a person wants that is held in the mind long enough will work towards its manifestation as an actuality in the world. This is an important retelling of an ancient truth, but it is only partially true. An image is an object, a form, a particle. An image, okay, this is that other part. This is that other part that I was learning, okay? An image is actual matter. It exists. It is something. Okay. The image in your mind is it's actually something. That's the part I didn't even realize. It's matter, it's an object, it's a form, it's a particle that serves as a guide to the life force, which is the motive energy behind the manifestation of effects in the world. The voluntary manifestation of effects in life takes place through four components. Okay, let's get to the components. I'm at the 50-minute mark. I'm going to have to make this a two-parter, because there's so much in it that I can feel myself having a bunch of opinions about it. Number one, the will, which initiates the movement of the mind. Number two, the image, which guides the life force to its end. Number three, the enjoyment of the end result indicated by the image. It enlivens the life force. And number four, the life force. And number four, the conviction that the end will be attained. Number one, the will, underline, which initiates the movement of the mind. So that heru, the will, moves your mind. I will get up and eat a sandwich. So that your mind has been moved towards sandwich. Okay. The image, which guides the life force to its end. So you see this sandwich in your mind. The sandwich. I said that. Did I just say sandwich? You see the sandwich, okay, in your mind's eye, all right? And that guides your life force to its end, to getting it, okay? When you see the picture of the sandwich in your head, if you see this pizza in your head, I can see the pizza. I can see the cheese bubbling and dripping over. That's going to make me get up and go to my car and drive to Pizza Hut, or else just at least pick up my phone and dial. Hey, I want to order a double cheese with pepperoni and olives, please. The game is coming on. Please have it here by in a half hour. Can you do that? And let me have some cheesy bread to go with it, and a big soda. The image makes you move. You know what I'm saying? Number three, the enjoyment of the end result indicated by the image. It enlivens the life force. So you see yourself enjoying that pizza. Woo, this pizza is good. Okay. Before you even get it, that's going to enliven your life force. It's going to make you, yeah, yum, yeah, I can taste it. Number four, the conviction that the end will be attained. The conviction that the end will be attained. I will have that pizza. I know I will. Okay. A, it can be derived from either of two sources. Number one, faith, or number two, trust in the law from reasoning. Oh my goodness. All right, listen. I'm going to have to cut this short, I think. We have seen that faith cannot be consistently relied upon. Religions hold on to faith in the face that it does not work for most people, and it therefore harms their cause. They need to update their doctrines to the scientific proof of God's existence and ways, which are the laws. Laws, on the other hand, provide unshakable conviction to the will that it will be realized. So the law will tell you for sure that it can be realized. The law is better than faith. The natural laws, okay? The universal law. We do not need faith that heat will cook the food, that water will freeze at a certain temperature, that the laws of aerodynamics will keep the airplane aloft, and so on. You don't need faith for those things. The laws is the faith that you need. The law. The 11 laws of the Spirit meet the same factual, universal, immutable, and objective characteristics as the laws of chemistry, the laws of physics, the laws of biology, etc. Peace, which is the law of Amen, establishes the stability, vitality, and harmony of the life force. Legitimate joy, in due measure, energizes it. The will sets it into motion, and so on. See, this is that part that a lot of people don't talk about. Ron Nefer is the only one that I've seen breaking this down, but it just could be that his books were the ones that I came into first before anybody else. And so I stopped right here. I didn't really go to anybody else's books talking about this. I'm not sure that he's the only one talking about it. He's the only one that I know of talking about these kinds of things. I'm pretty sure that there's lots of scientists who talk about these things, but they get silenced in this world. As a matter of fact, Einstein was pretty much silenced to a certain degree. Reasoning, quotes unquote, is just not a method of correct and critical thinking and drawing conclusions. Deductive reasoning has the power to generate conviction, which in turn generates trust in the logical conclusion. This happens whether the premise is true or unknowingly false. Ooh. Many religious literatures are filled with accounts of miraculous acts of their heroes. The followers deducts from these that the God that empowered these heroes will also empower them. Given that the miracles cannot be proven, and the fact that the religions have not offered proof of the existence of God or perhaps of the heroes themselves, the conviction and trust derived from such reasoning is of the order of faith. It can't be by law, it's by faith. Because none of this stuff can be shown by law. Trust in what has not or cannot be proven. It cannot be disputed that it has worked for many and will continue to do so for many years to come. It cannot be equally disputed that the practice runs counter to the experience of a growing sector of the world's population that is learning that reliance on proof, facts, and law is absolutely trustworthy, and that faith has let many down and will continue to do so. This is the sole reason for the growing number of people that are turning their back on religion and the people that give lip service to God and no more. Oh, they give lip service to God and no more than that. They are sincere without even knowing that they are not. They are sincere without even knowing that they are not. See, I don't even understand that sentence. They're sincere without knowing that they're not sincere. I don't know. Okay, the 11 laws of this stuff becomes really convoluted. That's why it took me so long to understand what he's trying to say. It's a matter of the way he writes, the way he speaks, his mind, and the way he puts his thoughts down on paper and whatever, in my mind, and how I receive this. It's a lot to overcome to get to the simplicity of what he's saying. Okay, he's one of those kind of people, I believe. He has the true thing going. He's been uploaded with this stuff. Okay, and but for a lot of times they say that some people who are experts, masters. I think I read this even in Robert Greene's book on mastery that's on my shelf. You can't see it. Sometimes these experts, they know it, but they can't teach it very well. They know it, but it's hard for them to explain it. That's what I think it is or it's hard for me to grasp it. Let me say that. The 11 laws of the Spirit provide premises that meet the test of truth. Reasoning about your life from them results in logical deductions that are logical and true. How can you not trust peace above anger, fear, worry, etc., when the evidence is clearly in front of you? How can you not trust being one with others when it is immediately evident to you that declaring someone or something as an enemy or opponent immediately causes your life force to drop? The peace is destroyed, and along with it, your raw power to achieve your goals and to maintain your health. You know what? This part I can say is true. I've tested this for myself. Is as simple as because how can I put this? How can I say this? Right words and wrong, good words and bad words, or positivity and negativity, stuff like that. For me, when I go to bed at night, depending on what my mind has in it, will determine how I sleep. It will determine how I sleep. Okay. I can go to bed and immediately start thinking about worrisome kinds of things that are going on. You know, I can start worrying, and I can catch myself in the midst of that worry and try to stop the worry, stop that worrying, stop that worrying. Or I can make the effort, and then, you know, I can fall asleep telling myself to stop worrying. And I'll fall asleep and have some kind of dream or blah, 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 wake up an hour later. And then within a second, my mind opens up, and those same thoughts come in once again. A very interesting thing, when you first wake up, the very first second, your mind is blank, and then you can feel the thoughts come in. Thoughts of worry, the thoughts of fear, the whatever kind of thoughts, you know. I could do that and have these kind of results, or I can do this. I can start in the middle of me having these worries and things, make myself start repeating some positive words, and I can fall asleep repeating those kind of words. Okay. And it could be the most basic kind of positive words. And I will fall asleep and I'll wake up. It'll be hours later. I will sleep that much better. I'll get that much more rest just because I changed my thoughts from negative, worrying, random stuff to positive, random positivity. It could be random. But the truth of the matter is that the positive has a powerful effect. I know there are some people who believe that, you know, what's the difference between positive and negative? I mean, they're just two ends of the pole, you know? The positive really does have more power, creative power. It brings forth what you want that's beneficial to you. That's just my 2 cents on that, my people. All right, 1 hour. All right. So the 11 laws of the Spirit provide premises that meet the test of truth. Reasoning about your life from them results in logical deductions. These 11 laws of the Spirit, okay? Reasoning about your life from them, from the 11 laws of the Spirit, reasoning about your life from these 11 laws of the Spirit results in logical deduction. You'll deduce, but it'll be logical, but it will also be true because they are laws of the Spirit. They're truths. Okay. How can you not trust peace over anger? There are some people who feel like the positivity just can't be believed. You can't trust peace over. It don't make sense that you trust peace. It makes better sense to trust your anger instead. That way you can express yourself, you know. Some people believe that, you know. How can you not trust fear, worry? How can you not trust peace above anger, fear, and worry, etc., when the evidence So there's always that. You got to come back to the evidence, okay? It's clearly in front of you. How can you not trust being one with others when it is immediately evident to you that declaring someone or something as an enemy or an opponent immediately causes your life force to drop? Okay, you're going to get tightened up. Oh, that's my enemy right there. Ooh, okay. Oh, I got to watch my background. Oh, that's a negativity right there. Okay. And the 11th law, the law of Amen, talks about peace. Okay. It's the oneness from which we come. Peace. All right. And the law of Asar is unity. Okay. Those are number 1 and number 2 laws, 11 laws, okay, of the spirit. How can you not trust being one with others when it is immediately evident to you that declaring someone or something as an enemy or opponent immediately causes your life force to drop? It takes energy away from you when you're looking at, ooh, I hate that one. Ooh, that one. It's true. The peace is destroyed, and along with it, your raw power to achieve your goals and to maintain your health. You know, some people will make themselves sick. We've heard this, the part where they say, uh, being angry at somebody is like taking poison and expecting you taking poison, yet you're expecting them to die from the poison. It doesn't work like that, right? So that's saying then that this anger and whatever else does have a negative effect on your life force energy. It drains it. Okay. Taking your energy away from your ability to achieve other more important things in your life. Okay. Free will, the essence of man's divinity. Okay, I'm gonna do one more part. And then, because I've only done 3 pages and I got 20 more to go. It took me an hour just to talk about these 3 pages. All right. Free will, the essence of man's divinity. All animals, in respect to their behavior, are locked into their biological configuration, their instincts. And that's what God has given the animals, their instincts. Their instincts inform how they move. They're instinctual about how they move, how they do things, what they do, how they protect themselves, how they reproduce, how they take care of their young ones. I've been noticing something about, and I've been just paying attention to dogs. They'll have these, and you can tell it's an instinct. They'll have these kinds of videos where they're showing a little dog or a big dog, mainly a big dog, uh, becoming friends with some other little animal. If the animal is a baby, even if it's a human baby, the dogs instinctually become much more gentle. And especially a big dog, he'll come down, put his face on the floor so that the baby whatever can crawl over his face. And it could be a baby. I saw one with a baby warthog or something, a baby bird even, or just, just a human baby. This is an instinctual thing that dogs do, obviously. It's a way that they don't harm the baby. They recognize that as a baby. Even if it's a human baby, they still do this. And they become just that much more gentle. And if the baby starts playing with them, then they're going into teaching mode. They're going to teach the little animal how to do the things that dogs do. It's going to teach him how to be a dog. That's just the way dogs are. You can see that stuff on TikTok all the time. That's just instinct. That's the way dogs are instinctually, and cats have their instincts. And this is what God has given. This is what the Most High has given to the animals. And this is what keeps the animals on the straight and narrow, generally speaking, so that they can be themselves. They can be their dog selves, their cat selves, their warthog selves, their pig selves, or whatever. Okay? All animals, in respect to their behavior, are locked into their biological configuration, their instincts. Only man can transcend them. Only Human can transcend instincts. Yes, we have instincts too. The lower nature are the instincts. Okay, that greed that's an instinct. You're trying to keep all the food for yourself so that you can protect yourself so that you can eat. You take from others and stuff. Those all those basic instinctual things. But we have been blessed with more, a higher level. But you don't just you got to reach those things. You got to get to it. Okay. You can stay on the lower animal level, or you can choose to come up. The freedom to choose, which is the will, it places her above all animals and even angels, which are locked into their nature. Okay. I think there's a scripture in the Bible that says that even the angels, we are blessed with something that even the angels don't have, or something like that. I can't remember I can remember that scripture. I can remember it. Not yet, though. All right. To the uninitiated, the freedom of the will is liberty to do as one wants. To the uninitiated, the freedom of the will is liberty to do as one wants. In reality, it has been granted by man to enable her to choose to follow the law of God out of understanding through reasoning. To realize your and that speaks to the free will. You can choose to do what's right. You're not made to do what's right for you as a human. All right. If you were, then you would just be an instinctual animal. You wouldn't be able to be a divine being if you had no choice. You get to choose based on reasoning whether or not to do what's right or not. Okay. The law of God out of understanding through reasoning. To realize your divinity and to live as a God man, quote unquote, you have to choose. You cannot be compelled to live the laws to become the vessel of God on earth. This is opposed to the practice of some religions that motivate their followers to embrace God and the teachings out of fear of damnation and other eternal forms of torture. The fear by depressing the vitality and destroying the harmony of their life force and brain will damn them before they even leave this life. They'll be damned before they get to hell that they believe they're going to. Okay. They need not go to hell. And you can see that that's true when you're speaking to certain people who have been overcome. It's and I hate to keep ragging on Christianity, but it's the only religion that I have any knowledge of, how this works. I'm sure any religion will do this if that's the main goal. They scare people to within an inch of their lives. They don't have the energy, they don't have the ability, they don't have the willpower or the will or the power to make another kind of decision. They're scared into place. And that's why it's extremely hard to break free from that. It's hard to try to just telling them the truth is not enough to break them free because they're so locked into it. It's amazing how fear will do that to you. And that's why they use fear. Okay, to keep them in that place. But it's to realize your divinity and to live as a God man, you have to choose. You cannot be compelled to live the laws, to become the vessel of God on earth. This is opposed to the practice of some religions that motivate their followers to embrace God and the teachings out of fear of damnation and other eternal forms of torture. The fear by depressing the vitality and destroying, because we know fear has a negative effect on the body, on the mind, on the spirit. Fear is destructive. It's very destructive. It creates sickness in the body. Will damn them. The fear will damn them before they even leave this life. They need not even go to hell because they have been damned just by their own fear. That's always being they're always in a state of fear. You cannot claim to have chosen to become a vessel of God in the world if you did not offer yourself to God, asking nothing in return from God. It is an act of love, the supreme act of love. And you cannot do that without diving into the depths of your being, the Amen level, which is where peace actually resides, and the Asar, the core of your oneness with God. This is why you were given free will. That's why we as humans have free will. Now, let me read these footnotes. Angels are but fractions, faculties of, okay, there it is. That's it. Angels are but fractions, faculties of man's makeup, and have no free will. They are under the will of man once he has realized his divinity. They can even be directed by advanced initiates who have not yet attained the ultimate goal. This is a well known fact. Religions that teach that angels are superior to man are in great error, not merely because of the technicality, but because it shows that they have no intention of elevating man above the human stage. Angels are fractions, okay, faculties, okay, which is what has been stated in the other video that I did. That's why there's so many of them. They're faculties. They're not on the same level as human. Okay. All right, my people. Let's see where we are here. This is gonna be one of them super long videos. Oh my goodness, how am I gonna do this? I wonder if I can get it all in one super long video. The three modalities of the self, the middle pillar of the Pa'ut. I prefer to try to get it all in one video rather than having two parts and all that. Following the transformation of the spirit's energy, the transformations of the spirit's energy, the man's self manifests three modalities. Number one, the day or waking state, which is represented by Heru. In this state, the will is fully active so that thought processes can be controlled. The essence of this state then is will or self-control. Number two, the hidden or the dream and mediumistic trance state, which is represented by Aset. In this state, the will is not active. Thoughts and events freely drift in and out of consciousness. The essence of this state is automatism of thought processes. This is our normal dream experience. The dream state gives us access to the past, the future, and events going on beyond our being and gives us insight into what the mind, the subconscious, is working on manifesting in our lives. In this state, the receptivity of the spirit is high, but given that the will is dormant, we are unable to will to change undesirable trends in our lives. And number three, the middle state, in which one is awake while dreaming. One is awake while dreaming. This is the highest state of meditation and is represented by Asar. This state combines the essence of the other two, which is the day, which is Heru, and the hidden or the dream, which is Aset. Thoughts flow freely in, but as the will is active, one is able to selectively call up the specific thoughts. We can ask the spirit to show us what is going on in respect to a specific area or of our lives and will to change it, given that in this state, the receptivity of the spirit is high. In addition, because consciousness can be directed by the will, one is able to retain full memory of what has been dreamed in this state, unlike the dream experiences during normal sleep. Ooh, I guess that would be the lucid dream state. Okay. These three modalities or levels of consciousness represents the middle pillar of the Pa'ut, the tree of life. Now you're going in. Okay. All right. It is important to know the above because when we will to manifest our divinity, we must take into account these three modalities of the self. Mm. Okay, the Heru and Asar part of being represents the same spiritual contents. They differ only in presentation. We look like Heru when we are, or have to, sustaining the effort to live the 11 laws with our will because they are not yet established in the mind, life force, and nervous system. The Metu Neter, word of God, have not yet become flesh. Ooh, there's that part, the word becoming flesh. We look like and are Asar when living the 11 laws proceeds on when living the 11 laws proceeds automatically. That is without an effort of the will because they are established in the mind, the life force, and the nervous system. The Metu Neter has become flesh. The words of God has become flesh. This is exactly what is meant in the Kamitic spiritual literature, that it is the responsibility of Heru to resurrect Asar. It is the supreme function of the will to resurrect the dead God within. The proper use of the will, because Heru represents the will, to sustain a behavior that eventually becomes automatic is Heru resurrecting Asar. Okay? Whew, man. Heru is the one who wants to live the higher life, but he's doing it based on willing himself to do it. When he gets to the Asar level of the spirit, it just comes automatically. You're going to do this automatically. You don't have to will yourself to do it. You do it automatically. You live like a god. Okay. Okay. Heru, the savior. What is it that man, quotes, needs salvation from? Salvation is liberation from the dictates of the lower parts of being, the lower mind, the emotions, the earthly desires and sensuality, the elements that make up the human. Okay, that's the baby stuff, the baby level. But you don't want to be stuck there. Okay, we have already seen that it is the chief responsibility of the will to bring this about. The will is Heru. The will is the freedom to choose to not give into the emotions, etc. Okay? Don't give into it. You choose not to do it. Okay? We do this every first of the year. Okay? What do you think would happen if you did not give in to the impulse to indulge anger or fear, etc.? What would you think? What do you think would happen? Would you fall and foam at the mouth? Oh my goodness. It's starting to get funny. It's starting to get hot in here. Oh, I don't have any windows open. I don't hear the people down there. I gotta open some windows. Excuse me again, my people. Oh, let me open up my windows so that I can breathe in here. Because I intend to do I'm gonna do the entire thing. It's gonna be 2 hours long. That way I won't have to worry about two parts because usually people don't click for part two. So let me just keep it all one part. Okay, let's do that again. What do you think would happen if you did not give in to the impulse to indulge in anger? If you was feeling like you were about to get angry, but you chose not to do it, what's gonna happen to you? Are you gonna fall and foam at the mouth if you don't go ahead and get angry? Huh? Is that going to happen to you? All right. Haven't you transcended things you used to fear? Things that used to make you angry? Things you used to crave? Haven't you transcended those things? Were you to establish total freedom from all negative emotions and sensuality, you would be establishing your life force in the position to deliver all the good things in life to you that is due to the stability, the vitality, and the harmony that would result from your emotional equanimity. You will be well on your way to becoming a divine being with all of its prerogatives. Okay, is your prerogative. Okay, the two types of evil. Ooh, that word evil is one of them. Salvation cannot be understood without understanding the two types of evil. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. I knew it would get hot later on. It's just one of those kind of days. Salvation cannot be understood without understanding the two types of evil. One stems from ignorance, the other from Satanism or pure evil. We have been speaking about the origins of the first type, which is ignorance, throughout this book. It is the result of not knowing right from wrong. You don't know that peace is your nature. Hence, it is your natural and correct response to all of life's challenges, all of them. Peace is your nature as a divine being. Okay. And since you don't know that, therefore you indulge the anger, etc., blah, blah, blah. This is evil due to ignorance. Okay. The other is Satanism or Satanism from Set, the principle within that destroys man's divinity, his conscience. You are Set or a Setian or a Satanist when you are in full knowledge that a particular behavior goes against divine law and you choose to do it. Okay, there's a lot of people who do that and they think they feel superior because they choose it. All right. You got cojones hanging all the way down to the floor. Is the way you feel when you do that kind of stuff. All right. Or you are committing many wrongs in life out of ignorance, but you know that spiritual work will eliminate the evil from your life. Yet you choose to not do the work. You are not yet Setian, but you are on your way. Okay. Incidentally, we must note that in both cases, we are speaking of people who are free of significant brain disorders. So if you don't have, there are those who have brain disorders that lead them to doing certain kinds of things. Okay. The triumph of Heru over Set. Heru, the will and reasoning, is the aspect of being that has the task of eliminating evil from man's being. It will not and cannot come about from the actions of someone or something outside of yourself, your will. Empower your conscience, the spirit of Asar, the spirit wherein you dwell. Are you not Asar? With the 11 laws, enter into a contract with it by making them the constitution of your self-image. And you will find that you would have armed your will, Heru, which is your will, with the means of destroying all evil within you. Okay. The two aspects of Heru. Not a single Egyptologist, as far as my extensive research has taken me, has noted the difference between the two aspects of Heru, and very few have even taken notice that there are two. Heru Kinti Ima'at, the elder, the blind, and Heru, the son of Asar and Aset. Okay, break this down. Okay. Heru Kinti Ima'at. Let me show you what that looks like. Heru, see that? Heru Kinti Ima'at. Heru the elder is the son of Nut, heaven, and Geb, earth. It does not refer to the Heru, the Savior. This Heru fails to save man because he is blind. The myth comes quickly to earth when it is realized that it is a reference to the period in man's life in which he does not make use of the will as he should. The reason is blindness, but in what manner? Okay, the left hemisphere of the brain. Psychologists claim that the left hemisphere of the brain is the dominant side without realizing why. It governs the lower part, the lower aspect of man's life. The left hemisphere governs the lower aspect of man's life, and given that the majority of people in the world have not transcended it, the majority will exhibit left brain dominance. This also explains the prevailing level of evil in the world. Now, what does that have to do with the blindness of the first Heru? Living by hearsay. Woo-hoo, here we go. The information about the world and us that is processed by the left brain is verbal. We hear our way through life via the left brain. The right hemisphere processes information visually. Thus, the left side dominance means that the person is relying more on the thoughts she hears in her mind or hearsay than what is seen or actually experienced, which is processed by the right hemisphere. It is the difference between being told that something exists and seeing it. The educational system in a left brain oriented world conditions people to accept hearsay as facts and truth. It builds a world around definitions. Number one, man is an animal. Man belongs to the animal kingdom. Man rose from the apes. Man is an omnivore. Race X is superior to race Y. Ancient Egyptian religion is polytheistic. Various species in the world are due to evolution. Man is a human being. Satanism is the worship of Satan. The will is the power that realizes objectives. It must be strong. Happiness is the experience of great pleasure or joy. It is natural to experience fear, anger, worry, etc. Have you experienced God, or is all that you have are definitions about God? And on is what Nefer Amen says here. Okay, all of those are hearsay. Okay. Traditional Chinese medicine has proven that what we are in the habit of calling emotions, anger, the fear, the worry, etc., are in reality diagnostic messages regarding the condition of energy channels in our bodies. When the positive, the yang energy that passes through the kidneys channel, the meridian, is weak, it sends a message about its deficient state through the feeling of inability to cope with challenge. The message is misnamed fear, with all the negative effects that follow. The message was a call for therapy to fix the deficient state of the energy channel with herbs, acupuncture, qigong exercises, and so on. Instead, the person ran away from the situation with their weak energy system in place. The same is true for all of the emotions. That's amazing right there. That's amazing. All right. Your fear is a call for help internally, not to be saved, but internal help. You got some weakness going on, according to the ancient Chinese way. All right? Living by linear and segregated thinking. Another expression of the left side of the brain that dominates man's thinking when the will is undeveloped, I should say, is linear thinking. Now we've heard lots of talk about the weakness of linear thinking. It is the restriction of an effect to one causal agent. For example, laziness is the cause of capable people's failure to apply themselves to their work. Intelligence can be deducted from a person's test performance. Material accomplishment and acquisitions are signs of success. Because one cause to one effect thinking excludes other possibilities as well as the involvement of other contributors to the effect, it is narrow mindedness and segregative thinking. Sequential thinking and life bites. Another characteristic of left brain thinking is sequential thinking. Because it is verbal, it strings thoughts together to present the whole to consciousness, the self. This is not a problem for the description of simple and concrete things, as the task can be accomplished in a sentence or two or three. When complex things must be described, especially abstract ones, which require many sentences, what happens is that the brain drops out information units around the third sentence so that they are not considered in the consolidation of the complete picture. Attempting to build a picture of a complex whole by assembling verbal information is the best example for the building of the Tower of Babel. If the left brain dominates our thinking, then at any moment we are relying on little bits of pieces or sound bites for our decision making. If, for example, a situation in life is determined by the consolidation of 20 bits of information into one thought, the consolidation or synthesis into a whole cannot be achieved through the addition of the parts. It is an extraction process of an abstract thought that ties them all together. This unifying or synthesizing extractive process is carried out by the right hemisphere of the brain, which is why it governs meaning and understanding. Superficial thinking. Another problem with the lower modality of the left brain is that it does not go beyond the outer aspects of things. It processes information about the external aspects of man's being, for example, and defines and describes man as an earthly creature, a human. To it, marriage is the union of man and woman for earthly life concerns. It captures no information regarding the spiritual of growth and nature of the union and so on. In other words, there is a lack of insight, a function of the right side of the brain. Okay, that's why we have these two halves of the brain, they coordinate. These are then the causes of evil in the world. They are rooted in the failure of the will to monitor and control the activities of the left hemisphere of the brain, which dominates the early part of life, and the latter if the will is not established to enable the right hemisphere to establish the balance. Heru the blind. Okay. All right. Heru initiation work. I think I'm almost finished. All right. Review and write a short essay on how the desire for freedom and control over your life manifests in your life. Are you a rule breaker? Are you controlling? Are you bothered by authority figures? Are you self-disciplined, etc.? Review and make a list. Number one, make a list of all your emotional and sensual behaviors. Number two, note the images and situations that trigger them. Number three, use the situations as scenarios in the following meditation. Okay, meditation script. Visualize the scenario. Visualize a situation or situations in which your freedom to choose to be free of emotions or sensuality is challenged. Truism, divine law. I give thanks to you, O God, for I dwell in the freedom of the will that you have given me. Were it not for it, I would be doomed to a life of an animal, to the darkness of a human. It is love for God that moves me to do great things. It is love for realizing the likeness in which you made me that I show my love for you. Thanks, I give thanks every day of my life. Visualization of living in harmony with the law. Visualize your person acting in, visualize yourself acting in a manner that gives evidence that you exercise your freedom to choose successfully. You're going to visualize yourself having achieved success with your visualization. Your acting, the way you act. Visualization of the blessings received from living the truth. See your person enjoying a goal that you are seeking to attain as a result of having vitalized and harmonized your life force with peace. Declarations of freedom from sins. Examples: I have not indulged images that nourish and trigger my emotions, anger, etc., and sensual appetites, pornography, junk food, etc. I have not attempted to control my behavior through a direct act of will. I use images as intermediaries. Okay. Review and make a list of emotions and sensual behavior that you struggle with. Make a note of keeping in mind that your struggle is directly due to the fact that you indulge visualizations about them. Not only is struggling a sign of the use of the wrong method, it also drains the life force and reinforces the very behavior that you are endeavoring to eliminate from your person. Declarations of freedoms from sins. Examples: I have not struggled with, name your emotion, desires, and sensual conditions. I have not indulged images of activities that nourish the human self image. I have not indulged images of activities that nourish my emotions, sensuality, and desires. For example, seeing my person crying as a result of some difficulty, visualizing my person acting in an angry manner if so and so happens, etc. Meditate on the following to anchor in your mind the role that reasoning plays in the empowerment of the will, replacement of faith. The will. You are the initiator of all events in your life. You have been granted this privilege by God. Give thanks. The image. Your will must be expressed through an image of the desired goal, the end result. The image invokes and guides the life force. Joy. The image of your achievement must be joyful. Joy energizes and empowers the image, and the life force is controlled by the image and in turn governs the manifestations in your body and in your social environment. The Chinese call the life force qi or qi and images yi. Reasoning about the above sequence gives conviction to the expression of the will to achieve things in the manner shown. Keeping the above in mind, repeat the chief meditations for the Netaru Amen through Heru. Review and meditate on the two figures to anchor the relationship of reasoning to spiritual power. Of course, we got to go through this again because he's got some flow charts in here. You really need the books, what you really need, okay? Laws, the known, hence proven, plus reasoning equals ironclad conviction. Beliefs, the unknowable, hence unprovable, plus faith equal conviction with doubt, with doubts, okay? Essential differences between God and man versus the animals, okay? All right, God and man. Acts are governed by the will. free by nature. Animals. Acts are governed by instinct, compelled by nature. Okay. It is time to take stock of where you are spiritually. This is the chief work to be done at the summer solstice. Review and meditate on the following diagram. Ba, Ab, and Sahu, the lower one. Ba, Asar, Ab, Heru. Sahu is the human. So at least, let me see what it says. Ba, which is Asar, divine nature manifesting without effort of the will. Ab, which is Heru, making the effort of the will to transcend your human nature. Sahu, the human, not struggling to transcend your human nature, emotion, sensuality, and earthly desires. Okay. Almost finished, people. Oh, God, I've been talking for 2 hours. Your level of spirituality is shown by your attitude towards the human versus divine attributes. The schedule of spiritual development. Sahu, the first is Sahu, division of the spirit. The next is Ab, division of the spirit. And the last is the Ba, division of the spirit. Okay. Declarations of freedom from sins. Examples. I have not given into my conditionings, name them, without making an effort to oppose them. I have not been lackadaisical about my conditionings, name them. I have not made my conditionings, name them, my comfort zone. Review and make a list of your Setian qualities if you have any. Be honest or lose your opportunity to realize your divinity. From your list, compose your declarations of freedom from sins. Examples. I have not knowingly chosen to indulge my lower nature. All right. Review and enter into a contract with your conscious, the spirit of Asar, God's consciousness within your being, to live your life according to the 11 laws of Ma'at of the Holy Spirit Ra. You must commit the statements of the laws to perfect memory. You cannot become the embodiment of the laws, and the laws cannot save you if you do not live them. And you cannot live what you don't remember. It is important to note that you must enter into a covenant with your conscious, God's consciousness within your being, and the spirit of Asar, because conscience will not fulfill its role in your life by forcing you to accept its teachings. It's free will again. Of righteousness and judgment. You must reason about the law, understand them, and choose to follow them with love for God and with peace and joy. All right, my people, I am finished. Woo! Heru. I feel like I need to read that a couple more times, to be honest. To be truly honest with you, I feel like I need to read it a couple more times, but I won't need to because I have it here. I have just created the video and I can just listen to the video again and again. For me, listening is just way more impactful than reading a book. I don't know. I have always loved books since I was a child, but at this stage of my life is reading a book is just not as impactful as me listening to somebody speaking. So that's why I do this, what I'm doing right here. So I have this chapter on tape here. And I sure hope that you come back and listen to it again and again as often as you need to, because this is your willpower. There's no such thing, according to Ra Nefer Amen, as willpower. Will is a spiritual thing. Power is a human thing. Okay. All said is the power. All right. But anyway, we're not going to go there. Okay. Because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess up the understanding. I'm still a student of this, just like everybody else. All right, my people. Thank you all for being here at the Maps channel. This is what we're doing. We're building maps. We're creating maps, mantras, affirmations, prayers, and spells. And thank you all for listening. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Share this with somebody you think could get to this. Share this with some leaders that you know. All right. So thank you all. Peace, peace, and blessings.